Find out. Oh, fish. This is 30. Welcome to the banks of Elphick's Fishery, and more specifically Prairie Lake, where I'm going to be for the next 36 hours or so. Now, I've never been to this venue before, and that's mainly because it's not exactly on my doorstep. Being Kent, it's a 3-hour plus drive for me to get here. But once here, I've been greeted by a beautiful complex of lakes, really nicely laid out, really well maintained, stunning scenery, really mature. And to top it all off, I've been watching a bird of prey fly around for the last hour or so and smash into the lake trying to get some fish or something. Well, must be fish. I don't know exactly what it is. So if you're into birds of prey, have a look at this little clip that I've got. Can you tell me what it is? It's probably about the size of a marsh harrier, wingspan close to that of a heron. It's a big old bird. Not a buzzard that I'm aware of. I don't think buzzards attack fish. Not a kite for the same reason. Also, it doesn't have the forked V tail. What is this bird? Because it's been beautiful to watch. I'm not sure what sort of birds of prey are around the Kent area. Are osprey here? I don't know. I don't think it's an osprey, but let me know. If you know what that is, let me know. I've been thoroughly enjoying watching that smash the water, kingfisher, all sorts. So beautiful, beautiful spot. Hopefully we catch, of course, but just being in these surroundings, genuinely it's good enough. It's really, really nice. Now, I've got 3 rods ready to go out. Rigs and everything is stuff I used before. If you've seen one of my recent uploads at Willow Park where I was fishing 3 rods on clean spots, I think the title was something like Copy and Corner, because there's a lot of elements in this rig which is similar to what they use on the underwater film recently. I'll go through everything in detail later on, but I need to get the rods out for now, get fishing, hopefully get some fish under our belts. So let's do that now. Well, that's all 3 rods now set. Now, I haven't just thrown them out in likely looking spots. The right-hand rod was nice and simple. It's just down in the margin. When I got here and was walking around, I kept seeing fish really, really close in, so I thought I'm not going to ignore them. I'm going to stick one down there and keep it out of the way. Obviously, I'd be as quiet as possible back there and leave it to it. If anything comes around closer in, that should do the job. And it's nice and clean on there as well. Now, the middle rod, again, a likely looking spot was the edge of the island. I started off with a deeper just to get a general idea of the depths and everything. I could see it was pretty clear. I then flipped over to a lead after checking that spot and the margin to the left. And once with the lead on there, I could feel it was skipping across nice and gravelly, almost as clean as what I'm standing on right now. So that was a clear spot that they wanted to be on, or probably fed on. And also I'd seen a few fish on the surface motoring around that sort of patrol route. So that's where the middle rod has gone. Left rod, again, I was just testing down in the left margin. There's a sort of aerator there. I'm in the last swim on this bank, and then the next swim is on the next bank. So that bay can only ever be fished from this swim or that one around there. As we're the only ones here, it made sense to fish that left margin as well. Again, once put the lead on, pulling it back, I could feel it skipping across nice and clean. So all 3 rigs are exactly the same. I'll go through them again tomorrow, but fishing on clean areas, I can get away with a rig that's better suited for that sort of fishing. And I know it's going to be fishing for me all the time. Bait wise, I've done it all either by hand, by chucking stuff in on the left one so I can get round there, and the middle rod is close enough that I can use catapult range. So I'm not using a spom, I'm not doing excessive casting or spotting out, making loads of splashes and noise. I can poke the bait out. It's a bit of a different spreader bait rather than condensed spoms on each rod. So that is the taxes sorted, rods are out, the sun's going to start dipping behind the trees in a second, but I'm not the only one here on this trip. As you can probably see from the thumbnail and the title of the video, I'm fishing with one of the guys from Carp Interest. He's a couple swims down there. Now, it's a bit of a social with a little bit of a competitive edge to it as well. So hopefully throughout the session, we'll both get amongst the fish, but of course we want to try and win. So we'll head down to his swim, see how he's getting on, and introduce you to him. Well, as mentioned, just a couple of swims down is Pete from Carp Interest. Now, you had, first and foremost, the most disgusting drive here, didn't you?
Yeah, it wasn't great. The M25 was choked up and it was an extra 2 hours on the journey, which made it about 5 hours. So.
Now, it's an accent that's probably not used to being on my channel. Where exactly are you from?
Yeah, I'm from the West Midlands, towards Birmingham way, like you say, hence the accent.
And the channel, Carp Interest, how long's that been going?
It's been going about 4 hours, but more serious last...
4 hours? You've only
4
just
hours.
started it, you said 4 hours.
Oh, that's the drive in my head still. 4 years, sorry. It's been 4 years, but more serious the last like year or two. Yeah. So.
Now, obviously I've done a few videos for Gemini, as you guys know. you've been on board with Gemini doing a few things recently as well. You've got a series hunting for a UK 40, is it?
Yeah, we did a series this year with Gemini Carp Tackle where we did a hunt for a UK 40, which was 8 episodes, but on the 5th one last session we completed it. So
No, we, you, or
me.
well done.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
I'm with the better part of the carp interest.
Well, I don't think there is a better part, but yeah. Carp
So
interest.
there is normally 2 of you. Other one isn't here at the moment. What's his excuse?
Liam has just had a baby, so
Well, let
it's
him
a
off.
pretty good excuse. Yeah.
So congratulations, Liam. Now we are here, as I've already said, at Prairie Lake, but we've actually got this place exclusive, which is quite nice, isn't it? Put on by
next to
Gemini.
ourselves.
Have you ever been here before?
I haven't, no.
So it's a plain canvas for both of us. We've seen a few fish going around, but it's been scorching hot more than anything.
Yeah, it
It's
has.
been a tricky one to deal with the heat. So fingers crossed going into tonight we'll have something. I'll be documenting mainly my session, of course, and you're also filming it. I can see your camera behind as well, mainly for your channel as well. So if you
Yeah.
want to see both sides of this session, how each of us are attacking it, of course go over to Carp Interest, and when we do the bit for your video, hopefully people will go over to my channel as well and watch mine.
Hopefully.
Anyway, your rods still aren't out, mine are, so I'll let you get them out because there is kind of a competitive element to this, but
Friendly
I think
social.
if we can get some fish on the bank, it's a bonus because it's
Yeah.
a stunning place, and I have now learnt it was an osprey, so very lucky to have seen that. Well, the rods have only been out for probably less than an hour, but I keep on seeing fish repeatedly in the far corner of the lake. Now I'm going to stay based here. I'm pretty confident in where I'm fishing, but I'm going to bring all 3 rods in, make sure they're clipped up ready, then take my spare rod. It's actually my floater rod, but rather than re-rigging everything up, I'm just going to cut off the free line method that I've currently got on there and stick on a solid bag. I tied up a load last night because I didn't know what the makeup of the lake bed was going to be like. I thought if I got some solid bags ready and I got here and the fish was showing somewhere, but I didn't know what I was going to be fishing over, a solid bag is a safe bet. Just stick it out and know that it's pretty much going to present in most situations. Now, because I don't know what's up in that bay, I don't want to go up there and start leading about to find out. Oh, fish. I'm in. Yep. Well, maybe I don't have to go up to the top bay. Whew, well, I was just saying about bringing all the 3 rods in and going up to the top bay with a solid bag. I may still do that because there's a lot of fish up there. But as I was saying that, if I'd hit the camera record 5 minutes earlier, these rods would have been in already. And the island spot rod has just gone off. And I don't really know much about the stock in here, to be honest. I know that they're, from what you were saying actually, is that they're hand-picked. And I think they go up to over 40 pound in here. So there's potential of some pretty decent fish in here. So far this is feeling quite good, but what a start to the session if we get this in. Did not expect to have a bite within, what, those rods have been out, what, 40 minutes?
Yeah, not long at all.
No.
How's it feeling?
Feels alright, I'm dragging in someone's spawn. I was wondering what it was, I thought it was a reed stem, but look, I've wrapped round someone's spawn, so. If you recently lost a spawn, write into my email address, if it's yours. Putting up my margin rod. This is the worst netting you've ever seen, but it's in. With a token spot. What a start. Well, that didn't take long to get off the mark. I was fully expecting to be a bit longer than what within the first hour, and just about to bring the rods in and go up to the top corner with a solid bag. And I may still do that because there's a lot of fish up there. I can't really ignore it, but this bodes well for this spot at least. And at 18 pound, 8 ounces is a good start, and the weight is off my shoulders of getting that first fish from a new venue. Very happy with that. Let's get him back, see if we can add to the tally.
With the fish slipped back, I headed up to the active area to dedicate a good hour or so before light completely got away from me. And unfortunately, despite being where loads of fish seemed to be, I just didn't get a bite there. So I headed back to my swim, put the rods out for the night and hope for the best.
Well, good morning everyone, and
A very good morning it is indeed, because last night was rather productive. After having that common to start the session, I had another one at, I think it was about midnight, and that was a 23 pound 14, I want to say that was. So a really nice mirror. And rods went back out and got back into bed and slept pretty well until about 5 o'clock, when the left-hand rod, which is the one to the margin over there, which had done the second bite actually, so that was the second bite on that spot, did another bite, and that was 10 poundish. I didn't actually get out and weigh, it was quite a small one. I was really tired, so I hooked that one in the net, gave a rough ballpark figure of about 10 pound. It may have been slightly more than that, but as it's kind of a semi-match thing, I thought I'd go under on the guesstimation and let that one go back. And then this morning, it's been an absolutely stunning morning. I've had the drone up, which is worth noting that typically you aren't allowed drones here, but for filming purposes, I have got permission before anyone says anything. And I'm so glad they gave permission, because having the drone up there this morning was absolutely breathtaking. You had the mist, and you can see we're kind of sat in a bit of a valley here. And so it was all sort of nestling in, the sun rose up, and it's just the picture perfect type of, that sounds like a fish, the picture perfect misty morning sunrise, which is just what you dream of when you take a drone up to try and get some morning shots. So really pleased with that, and as you'll agree, it is a beautiful morning. And as I was actually flying the drone, I was hovering over one of my spots and thought, that's looking quite clouded up. It then went off. So I've now got fish number 4 in the net, which is why I'm here putting a fresh hook bait on, which is going to go back out. And that 4th bite was on the island spot, so nothing in the margin so far. I'm going to leave that there because I don't want to overdo it with rods out in the lake when they're doing bites as they are at the moment. I don't want to put too many lines in the water. But yeah, that's 2 bites on the left margin spot, 2 bites on the island, and this one is one of the ghosties that are in here. Now I did see one of these ghosties yesterday. I was trying to get one off the top before Pete got here. So it could be one of them. I don't know how many there are in here, but it may go 20 pound again, so good average size so far. This is like an 18, a 20, a 10, and that's got to be a liner. No, that's a fish. Ooh. Ooh, it was just a liner, but one of the most savage liners I've ever seen. It's bobbing up to the top, the rod just knocked a bit, but because I'm only fishing, 10 foot to the right, there's not much give in the line, so the liners are going to be pretty savage. So hopefully that goes off and that complete the trio of spots on bites. But as you can imagine, having fished throughout the night, I didn't sleep that well, so I need a bit of a pick-me-up this morning, which leads me on very nicely to the supporter of today's video, which is Holy Energy. Now, they've supported me once before on this channel when they did their starter pack, which I absolutely decimated within a couple of weeks. Loved all the different flavours, really enjoyed them, so I'm really pleased to announce that they've come back for a second time to support the channel. And if you haven't seen them before, it's basically an energy drink that's in a reusable container like this, and you can bring the energy drinks with you in different sachets. So I've chosen the flavours that I really like after using the starter pack, one of which is the Holy Energy Peach Panther. Now this is an energy drink. You've also got hydration drinks, iced tea drinks, but for me in the morning, I don't really fancy a coffee right now. I know not all of us have coffee first thing in the morning, and sometimes this is a deal. So I just put my sachet in there, and it's no different to everything else I've got in there. I've got pot noodles in there, I've got other things that you just add water to, like sometimes I've got my coffee sachets, so it's no different to that. Only if you like your energy drinks, you like your fairly sweet, fruity flavoured drinks, that's all you got to do. And it's a good way of getting some fluid in you, because I'm terrible at not drinking enough water when I'm fishing. But as you can see, that was 500 ml of water into a shaker, which comes with the starter pack. You can get these on their website as well. Give it a good shake, and there we have a ready to go. Bit of the dust went in my throat. A ready to go energy drink. Now these are much better for you than the more conventional ones you see on the supermarket shelves. They're not packed full of sugars, they're not packed full of artificial flavourings or taurine or anything like that, so much more healthy for you. And there's something like less than 80p a serving for one of these, so it's a lot cheaper as well, calorie wise, way lower. Getting water in you, it's a much better, healthier alternative to most of the energy drinks on there, and you don't get that sugar crash either because it's not packed full of sugar. Do love the peach. As I said, I went through the starter pack. If you want to get involved in that, then that's probably the best way to start. Try the flavours you like. It comes with a free shaker, and after that you can choose your different packets of flavours you want, even big tubs. I've got a big tub of the strawberry one back home, which is one of my favourite energy drink flavours as well. But they're just dead handy. bring fishing with you, no different to a coffee sachet. I'm bringing sachets of hydration drinks, energy drinks like that. So if you do want to get involved, give them a try. Use my code MBF5 for £5 off your first order. And then after that, just use code MBF for 10% off all orders after that. Right, let's get this rod back out and hopefully catch a few more. Well, the rod's now back out on the spot and topped off with a few more catapults and boilies. As much as my hands could take, that catapult is good, but it doesn't have to smack your fingers. When they're a little bit cold in the morning, that's not something you want to keep repeating. But what I do want to keep repeating are these captures. Another 23 pounder at 23 pounds, 7 ounces. It's a ghosty. It could well be one of the ones I kept seeing yesterday in the margin, but I don't know how many of them there are in here. But very welcome start to the morning. I can feel he's about to go. Every single fish I've caught so far have completely beasted me on the mat. So I don't know what they're feeding them in here. Even the 15-minute break I gave them in the net after the fight seems to be too much because they are all full of beans. Let's try and lift them up one more time for you. With this beautiful morning sunlight. There we go. 4 fish in the first night. Cannot complain at that. Hopefully this form continues. And yeah, we just continue enjoying this session. We'll head down into Pete's swim in a second, see how he's getting on and what his plan of attack is. Right as that one wants to go back. It's turned out to be another beautiful day by the looks of things. And what's your plan of attack? Because it's been a little bit slower in this swim, it's fair to say.
Currently on 2 Turbo Germans and 1 Ronnie Rig. 2 wafters, 1 pop-up.
Yeah, and you see much?
I've seen some in that far corner, and like we said, we've seen some in that willow.
Yeah.
But yeah, not too much.
I think from where I am, my furthest right rod is going to be the point that island where I've had a couple of bites. Since the last piece, actually, I've lost one off the same spot. So I've had 5 bites now. Fortunately, lost the last one. But we've seen quite a few fish showing sort of between us, and I'm happy for you to bring one round, getting closer to where I've had a few. But one just lumped out in the bay down to your right. It's quite far away. But
yeah, big chunk.
even from this distance, the ripples reached the swim here. It shifted a good amount of water, didn't it? So obviously you're fishing a bit different to me, similar with the tidy booms and that. So if you want to see more in depth on how Pete is fishing and how he's setting it all up, of course, watch his video in depth. Otherwise, this would be a very long video of just talking about how we're using rigs. But hopefully it pays off. We've seen a lot of fish up in the top corner as well, where I tried last night. As I'm catching fish in my swim, I'm probably going to stay put, and because this is a very loose competition, I'm inviting you to go and fish up there. I've been watching them all morning.
It's not much of a competition at the moment, really.
No, but watching so many fish up there, it'd be stupid for us both to ignore it. So I'm happy to.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely do that before breakfast. Yeah, because I do need to catch up. Yeah, like £75.
I think we've worked out it's about £75 in total, give or take a few ounces, maybe a pound or so here and there. But I think that's about where I am. But it was so quick to get those bites, it could swing round and you could have a flurry of fish now as well. So it's still early days, we've not even halfway through. So
yeah,
still a long way to go.
24 hours left, just over.
Gosh, is that a fish or a...
No,
it's like a tree coming down. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to go have some breakfast myself, and definitely not going to be jealous of your fry up in the cafe. But I've now got 4 fish under my belt, so confidence is super high. But even if I hadn't caught those fish, I think I'd still be feeling pretty confident going into today, because there was a lot of activity from the fish behind me. From rolling to sheeting up bubbles, clouding up the water. They're clearly grubbing about and moving around in not just one localised area, quite a lot of the area in front of me. So fingers crossed there's another bite in it for me this morning and going into the rest of the session. But I thought I'd just run through the tactic I'm using, the rigs and everything. As you would have known from countless other videos, I use a semi-fixed lead clip setup. So once the fish gets the bolt effect, that swivel pops out the lead clip, that lead is then free running. So the bites you get, which has been the case on this session, is you get a sort of a sporadic bite to start with, and then they start to move on. Unfortunately, I've lost 1 fish so far, but 5 bites, 4 landed. On previous sessions on this setup was 1 bite, 1 landed, and 2 bites, both landed. It's a pretty good success rate, I think you'd agree. No rig is going to be 100%, but it's pretty close to being there. So this is perfect for resetting on the clear spots
spots that I found. If you haven't watched the Willow Park video, which is one of my previous uploads recently, check the link in the description below and give that a watch, or alternatively wait to the end of the video, it'll pop up and show you there. I go through this rig for about 10 minutes on how it's tied up, the ins and outs of why I've chosen it all. But in short, the boom is a 5.5 inch tidy boom with a Ronnie swivel on the end, or spinner swivel on the end. It's designed for Ronnie rigs, but you can fish Ronnie rigs on the deck like I am, or with a wafter, or with a pop-up. That's why I've gone for this, so I can chop and change hook baits if I want. Really good resetting properties, 1.42 index rating, refractive index rating shall I say, which is basically next to invisible in water because it's 100% fluorocarbon, 35 pound breaking strain, fused loop, so it's much stronger than any kind of conventional knot, and I just love how simple and easy they are to use. I don't have to fumble around tying up my own booms. Yes, I could, I know I can, but why bother when I can use something that is consistently effective like these booms. So it resets really well, it can be picked up from any direction because there's still enough play in that boom that it's not too stiff. Then we move up to the spinner swivel. The reason for that is because there's loads of movement, and as I said, I can use this as a wafter presentation like I am today, a pop-up or bottom bait, loads of movement. That still sits how I want it to. That's then attached to the swivel with a little bit of shrink tubing, and you'll also see that I've then got a supple section, D section, that's tied on with a knotless knot to secure it in place, and that just gives me loads of separation from the hook bait and the hooks. There's loads of movement for the hook bait to move around, and when a fish tries to blow that out, that hook bait shoots to the back of there before that hook has even been able to move with it. And to finish it all off, I've then got a shot on the hook. Yes, I got a bit of stick from some of you guys on the last video saying I was just jumping on the bandwagon. I'm not. Proof's in the pudding. Why would you watch a video like the quarter one and see how successful it was and not use it just for the sake of not wanting to be someone that's copying? I do not understand that mentality. I want to put more fish on the bank. That's what those videos are for. So I'm going to implement it into my fishing. And so far, 5 bites, 4 landed. Previous session, 1 bite, 1 landed. Previous session from that, 2 bites, 2 landed. So 1 fish lost out of all those bites, I think, is a pretty damn good success rate. And all of those venues, may I add, are barbless venues as well. So clearly the rig's working. It's consistent. It's easy to tie up. It resets exactly what I want it to do, and it's doing the job. Now the hook bait, actually, just to quickly go through that as well, is a 50mm bottom bait cell, which I've shaved the bottom flat so it sits nice and flush on the lake bed. I've shaved the top off so that when I then shave the quad, which is a pink quad pop-up, they sit really flush and neatly together. So it sits like a snowman presentation. There's a bit of buoyancy there, but it's not really wafting around. It's just for visual aspect, and yeah, I just like the way how it looks as well. I did also use a solid bag yesterday, as you would have saw. So those are with the tidy stems. I've done countless videos on them before. Absolutely love them for all of my solid bag fishing. That's what I use. They're dead easy to tie up. I tied up 4 before I left home, just in case when I got here it was a bottom that required me to use solid bags, or like last night when I went up to the top section, I didn't know what the lake bed was like, so a solid bag is easily presented pretty much on whatever you put it on. So I've still got 3 tied up in that bucket. They're ready to go in case I need them, and they're just super effective. They got a fluorocarbon boom within them as well, so they're not stiff, so they don't break. The stem on them is movable like this, basically super strong, and you can just have several tied up like I have, tie them on and you're good to go. So those are the 2 methods I'm using on this session. This is the one I'm going to stick with because it seems stupid to change unless I move around and need to use the solid bags. It's worked so far, and I'm sure it will continue to work.
There we go, fish number 5, completely out of the blue once again. I was just doing a bit of editing in the bivvy actually on the laptop, not really watching the water. The rain keeps on coming and going. We've got forecast for potential thunderstorms over the next hour or 2, one of which looks like it's about to arrive on us. It's very black sky. Another one's gone off. So there goes my plan of potentially going around Stalkham with a bit of bread. It's coming over thundery. The fish are still coming. Steady, which is really good fun. That's a plane, not thunder. And at £14.5, was it? I forgot the weight, we'll check.
Yeah, around about that.
Anyway, just over £14. It's a lovely little fish. And hopefully we'll get amongst a few bigger ones going into the rest of the afternoon and the second night. Well, as you can see, the rain has now arrived, but that rod has gone again. Now this is the rod that I actually whipped in, that I put out as a single earlier on. When I caught that fish off the island, I quickly wound it in and put this straight back out on the spot before I'd even done anything with this, just in case there was still some fish there, and a few catapults of bait over the top.
what would we say, about 20 minutes ago, I put that fish back.
Yeah.
The rain is starting to come down quite heavy, so I appreciate you being the cameraman for me right now, because it isn't the nicest, but that rod has gone again. So it's clearly going to be my main spot to keep focusing on, and just trickling in the catapults of bait every now and then. If it's gone a bit quiet, I've introduced a bit more bait, and the bites seem to be quite consistent. And this one feels a little bit bigger than the last one, a bit more ploddy. And it's shifting a bit more water as well. Number 6. Rod clipped up, back out on the spot, and let him rest after that battle. So there we go. Fish number 6, and it's the biggest one for me, just over 25 pounds. Both of us were trying to guess the weight, and both thought a bit bigger than it is, because it's quite wide, but yeah, it's just not very deep or long, so it doesn't really get the weight from those aspects. But biggest one for me, I'm happy with that, and it's another one off the island spot, so it really is ticking away nicely on there. The whole approach is working. Keep on rinse and repeat, and hopefully keep on chipping away at the numbers. It'd be nice to get something a bit bigger, maybe something over the 30 pound mark, but that's just getting greedy. Happy days. It's now middle of the afternoon and it's absolutely scorching hot. I think the forecast was only about 22 degrees it's meant to get up to today, but I'd say it's way more than that. At least it feels way more than that wearing a black t-shirt and trousers. But sitting in my bivvy, I'm just getting cooked alive in there. I'm watching motionless rods. I've not really seen anything for a good while. So rather than just sitting here and hoping that something turns up eventually, I'm going to be a bit more proactive. I'm going to bring all 3 rods back in, bait up the spots where there's no lines out there. Hopefully they get some confidence up, grubbing around without any kind of danger. So when I come back later on in maybe a couple of hours and put the rods out, hopefully there's some fish there feeding confidently and we'll be more likely to get a bite. But I'm not just going to do nothing whilst the rods are in. I'm going to go around with my floater rod. I've got a 3-line hook ready set up on there. I've got some bread. I'm going to go around and just flick bread on the noses of some carp which I can see, keep milling around, some in the margins and that, and just hunt for that next bite. Rather than sitting hoping for it to happen, hopefully we go and make it happen. May have been a little bit cheeky with the fishing from your peg only rule, but it was there and I couldn't quite cast to it. No, not in the weeds. Come on. Oh no! It's come off. Ah. That looked like a 20 as well. Only me to blame, that's my knot that's gone. Bugger. Never had a knot fail on me before like that, but hey ho, you live and learn to triple check your knots before putting out a rig. And that was after playing it for a good few minutes as well. I saw it right on my feet when it came up. I think it was probably another Scraper 20 ghosty, so unfortunate to lose it. I tried again for a good hour or so up there, maybe more, but just they weren't around anymore. After the commotion of that first fish, they were much more on edge and weren't really just lingering around as much. So I'm now back into my swim. It's time to get all 3 rods back out, a bit more fresh bait, and then we're settled for the night. Hopefully another productive one.
£30, 3 ounces. Stunning. Over the moon. I can go to bed tonight a little bit stress free.
Oh, and relax. Been a long day, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Finally come good for you as well. That's the main thing.
just about, yeah.
So we just sat down. We're about to have a cup of tea. The kettle was on, and then your rod burst into life. It's the one you fired down towards the apple tree is the marker we've seen, isn't it? We've seen a lot of fish there today, haven't we?
Yeah, so it's finally paid off. Still about £250 behind you, but
It gets worse and worse every time you mention it. We don't know what the exact scores are, but yeah, it's a bit of a gap. But that was the biggest of the trip so far.
yeah,
At £30.
£3.
£30. So yeah, lovely fish, pristine common, really, really nice fish. And we've seen a lot of fish down. You put a bit of bait on it as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I put about half a kilo around that apple tree.
So I'm sure it'll do some more bites tonight. My swim's actually been relatively quiet, considering how it has been. Like, it's been fairly consistent bites in my swim the whole time. But it's been the longest spell without a bite, hasn't it?
I think you'll have a few more.
I would like to think so, yeah. I feel confident. I've redone the rods since you saw me filming them going out. I've done them again just for peace of mind. Probably didn't need to do it. In fact, I know I didn't need to do it. All the rigs looked fine when they came in, but it's just, I get in my head.
Yeah.
But now I know that all of those rods out there are presented perfectly. They're baited up nicely, so it's just a case of if they don't go, it's because the carp weren't there.
Yeah, you've done all you can, so peace of mind.
Nice. Well, I've enjoyed this trip. Nice to have met you as well. Going into the final night.
Cheers, and here's to a few more.
Thank you. May the best carper win.
Pete and I enjoyed a lovely social for a good hour or so, watching some lightning in the distance. Great to get some shots, and we weren't getting wet, we were just enjoying the lightning from afar. That was until this storm passed, another one got a little bit closer. I mean, a lot closer.
Well, if we look, feel, we'll probably sound a lot older. I think it's because we all will both feel it, don't we, after last night.
Definitely.
It was horrendous. That's one of the worst storms I've ever fished in. And thankfully for me, the rods didn't go off within the storm. I did have one fish, excuse me, just after midnight. It was a 24 £4. It's a really nice fish, but again, I just, in a pouring rain, cobbled together a shot of it, so apologies for the lack of professionalism there with that shot. Slipped it back and thankfully my rods then stayed motionless, but then I got a call from you just after a pretty heavy downpour.
Just after the storm.
Chunk in the net.
Yeah, borderline. Didn't really want to go at the bivvy. Googling, can I strike a rod in a thunderstorm? Knew the answer. I thought, oh, I'm probably going to have to leave. I don't know what I would do really, but
Yeah, it was awful. Like some of the strikes of lightning, as you saw from some of the clips I got on my phone, actually were pretty much the other side of these trees. It wouldn't have been advisable to hold a rod up in the air, but I think there was a small enough window where it did stop
yeah.
when you managed to get it in.
Literally, as soon as it started to stop, that one time I came and
Yeah,
I just went out and got it. And luckily, it did stop for a while then.
yeah.
So.
We had about a 20-minute spell of just next to no rain, and you had obviously last night just before you went to bed. You had that £30 and
3 ounces.
3 ounces. Keep forgetting how many ounces
Yeah.
it is. A beautiful common. So if you want to see that in more detail, of course, go over to their channel to watch it, and also the whole session, because not only that, that fish in the night was
35 and 6.
Yeah.
35, 6.
so a brace of 30s for 2 bites. It's yeah. I mean, I'd take one of your fish over several of mine. Talking of which, I have got one more to show you, and I did top up the scores last night. I'll grab my phone just if you're interested. Not that it needed doing,
Yeah, it's like
but out of interest,
run away with it.
my score was up to £139, 4 ounces, excluding the one I've got in the net, which looks to be another potential 20. In your 230s, obviously £60, or 65, sorry.
Yeah.
And ounces just shy of 60.
Need a couple more.
Yeah, but to be honest, your average size, excuse me, as you can probably tell, I'm also coming down with something. The average size was right up there, so whether the fish were the bigger ones that side, it definitely slowed up in my swim last night. There was next to no activity compared to the previous. Until this morning, actually the one that's just gone off, which I've just let rest, and I've seen starting to get a little bit animated, so we will deal with him after this. He came off the margin spot, so it always pays to have one in the margin. He's done nothing the whole trip until this morning, and yeah, what a lovely way to end off the session for me. So I've thoroughly enjoyed, where's my coffee? Our trip.
Yeah, me too.
Commiserations. Like I said, it was more of a social than anything. It's
The
great
best
to,
angler one.
it was great to have met you, and like I said, if you want to see Carp Pinterest side of the session, head over there and watch that. Go much more in depth on the rigs. You've been using your baiting approach and everything, and of course it's come good with 2 beautiful 30-pounders. So massive thank you also to Elphick Lakes for having us down here. We've been on Prairie, first time here, and it will not be the last. The calibre of fish has been right up there, you'd agree, wouldn't you? It's a really good average size, quality, beautiful surroundings. The frog yesterday, I've seen an osprey, I've seen all sorts of wildlife, and to top it off, that epic storm last night. But I think we're both a bit hanging, so slow pack down, head on home, and we'll end my video on that lovely last fish. It's a 30. 34.15. Take £3.9 off. That's 31. I'll take 9. 31.6. Sweet. Ended the session on a 30. Well, I completely underestimated this one. When I went in the net, I thought, oh, that one might go £20 again. Maybe it's just my sleep deprivation speaking, because this has gone £31 6 ounces. So what a way to end the session. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time here. My 8th fish, the biggest of the trip for me. And that means we both had 30s. What a stamp of fish. Really, really enjoyed my time here. And what makes me even more pleased is that this came off the margin spot, the one that's done nothing the whole trip, but I thought, I'm not going to ignore the margins. And it trundled off this morning. It didn't even belt off, considering it's only about 8 foot from the rod tip. It just kited around on a tight line. What a fish. What a way to end. Beautiful morning. Before the rain comes back in, I'm going to slip this one back, pack down, head on home with a big old smile on my face. What a session. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you again soon. In fact, there's the other side. All the end screen little pop-ups are coming up around me, I'm sure. So click on any of those videos that take your interest. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Or you can just remove all those items to have a look at this fish one more time. Cheers for watching, guys. Happy days. Ugh.